Well, good evening, everybody. And it's a little bit earlier than it was last night. It's feeling slightly less like it dragged on than it did last night as well. Familiar face alongside me. We've got Carwin with us again. No Dan Simpson tonight. He's off gallivanting doing something. I'm not sure what. He was quite cagey about it, so it could be anything, to be honest, from Mr. Simpson. But you've got the two of us to take you through the action here on the Fallout Bar after the second night of quarterfinals at the Grand Slam. Carwin, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Last night I was speechless because it felt like the first game went on forever. Tonight I'm speechless for the complete opposite. What an absolute bonkers quarterfinal, really. But yeah, no, I'm good. How are you, Cam? All right?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. Like you say, it was a bonkers night of darts, and I think we'll just get straight into it, really, and talk about how ridiculous it was. Because feel like we might be on this one for a little while. Luke Littler against Jermaine Wattimena. I don't quite know where to start with this, but it was just utterly silly darts from Luke Littler.
Oh yeah, the kid was outstanding. I think Wattimena was in the lead for 12 darts in that game, and that was it. It was all one-way traffic after then. As in, he's just teasing us, isn't he? As in, he's threatening 9 darters in the second leg. He's hitting high finishes. He's 180s for fun, averaging over a ton over 18 legs. It's just, I don't. It's unbelievable. As in, how does he maintain that level of confidence, focus, and just being so prolific on both the trebles and the doubles is beyond me.
I know it's not a game of darts that I've ever played. He's playing a very different game to anything I have. Yeah, I mean, 8 180s in the first 6 legs, including 2 in a row in the second leg where he wired the double 12 for the 9 darter. That's the only criticism I think I can have of him tonight. He needs to practice his double 12s because twice in this tournament now he has missed the double 12 for a 9 darter, but it feels a bit like it's coming, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, as in it's inevitable, really. As in you can't get that close that often and not finally hit one. As in, knowing Littler, he's probably keeping it, and for the final, he's got the way he's playing. Yeah, he knows it's in the tank. He knows it's there. Just how long can I put off hitting the 9? But I tell you what, as in if he produces darts like this for the next 5 years, as viewers, we are in for some, well, delightful darts to watch.
Yeah, I did say on the live lounge last week when I was on with Gob and Dan taking Phil Bars's place for the night that he does just turn up the first time at events and do silly things, and we've seen it, like I say, at the Worlds, we've seen it at the Premier League, we've seen it at sort of World Series events. He's just he's nerveless. There's like no comprehension of what is going on.
Yeah.
In the chat. If you're in the chat, why are you not sat here with us? You're getting called out for that, and you are right with that comment. I'm not going to do the voice because it will just get us in trouble.
It's crazy to think that most of his opponents this week, if not all, are more experienced than him and have played more games on the biggest stage. But nothing seems to faze him. That's his 5th 10+ average in a row in the tournament. He's threatened 2 9 darters. He's taking out big finishes. He's hitting 180s like there's no tomorrow. As in, yeah, I hope it's not just first-time luck at the tournament, because if he just produces this every year, then the Grand Slam's going to be one to watch.
Yeah, 100%. Like I say, it's just everything that he did. He just did it right tonight. 105 average, 62% on the outer ring, 12 180s and 4 tumblers checkouts as well. Right. As Jermaine Wattimena after this game, you can't really feel too down about it. I know you've been on the end of the worst ever defeat in a Grand Slam, but what else could you do?
Oh yeah, if something, Wattimena just got to go. I played Littler. He was phenomenal. Yes, he missed a few darts at the double, but apart from that, he just came up against a guy playing better than him tonight, and it's a freak of nature, that result. It probably won't happen again at the Grand Slam of darts. So yeah, if I was Wattimena, just take it on the chin, feel a bit rubbish about it tonight, maybe tomorrow, but then just forget about it because yeah, it's just one of those games where everything went the right way for Littler.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? It's like it's not one where you walk away from it thinking, I could have won that. Like I don't think there's anything he could have done up there. I think if he'd played better, he's obviously not played his best by any means, but even if he played better, I think that Littler could have upped it. I think there were levels there where he could have gone further as well. So it's still been a really positive month or so for Jermaine anyway, regardless of this result and the way he's come out on the end of it. Like I say, making his first major final, getting to the quarterfinal of the Slam, and just come up against Littler. But I think there's still a lot of positives to say for him going into the rest of the year.
Oh, 100%. And I think in the past, Wattimena might have been guilty of starting tournament strong, but fading last 16 quarterfinal. As in, he's shown in this last month that he's now got the capabilities of going all the way and mixing it with the top players. As you say, just tonight, he's come up against Luke Littler in scintillating form, and the only way he beats Littler is if he steals one of his darts, and Littler has to play with two. But knowing Littler, he probably still averages around the ton somewhere. So I think it's just one of those.
Pretty much, yeah. I think you could definitely give him two, and he'd beat most. He'd certainly beat us. I think you give him one, he'd probably beat us. To be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think other than that, I mean, without giving too much away before we go on to the next game, the only other thing you can do is kind of do what Gary said in his interview afterwards and just give him a boost in the shin before he goes on.
Exactly. So sometimes violence is the only way to stop.
You've just got to show a mood boss sometimes, haven't you?
Exactly, definite.
So on to that second game, and this was a really, really good game, and it went a long way without feeling like it dragged on a little bit like yesterday's did in the first quarterfinal. And it was really positive for Gary this, in that I thought as much as he played well, what he did really, really well was play well on his own throw once he got himself in a lead. And despite the fact that Jan was coming back into it and sort of playing better at that stage than how he'd started off, he just couldn't land the blow and even give himself an opportunity on the Gary Anderson throw.
Yeah, that was it. In the key legs that Gary threw first, he won them. And once he'd sort of built up that lead, he was sort of always held Jan van Veen at arm's length and felt like he was in control, even when it came back to sort of 10-9 and 9-8, sort of when it was only a leg behind. You always thought, Gary will hold his throw now and just keep that two leg lead, really. And it was a good game, as in both playing well, both sort of giving a good account of themselves, I thought, and an entertaining quarterfinal. As in, I think Gary's on one of those weeks where things are going his way, and Van Veen's time will come. I think it's just a case of Gary in the, I won't call it the winter of his career, the autumn of his career, because we don't want to see him retire just yet, but he's just enjoying darts, and when he's enjoying darts, he's as dangerous as anybody on the tour. So I think, yeah, Van Veen, a bit like Wattimena, just don't dwell too much on it, because there are positives to take from the tournament, and just use this as a stepping board for the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly that. I think you're absolutely right. It is just it's been a really good tournament for him. He's played brilliant all the way through it. Do we think they both suffered a little bit at the start because of what Luke Littler had done, in the fact that they weren't expecting to be on the stage for about another 45 minutes to an hour, and we're up there having to play, and both started a little bit slowly, to be fair. It wasn't vintage at the start by any means, other than the fact that Gary Anderson took out a 1-2-4 in the first leg. He should never even have had a shot at it. But Jan fumbled around a little bit and just didn't quite. Neither of them got out the blocks particularly quickly, but then it shows how well they played beyond that point, that they both ended up near a ton in the averages.
Yeah, I think that's it. The first 4, 5, maybe even 6 legs felt like they were still in practice room mode, and that because, as you say, they'd have probably prepared themselves and got ready expecting to start about 9 o'clock. But obviously, because of Luke Littler's antics, we're on much earlier than that, and it's probably hampered them with a bit, and they've had to rush a few things in their game. But yeah, as you say, to end up then just shy of the 10 average, I think shows the quality both have got, and the fact that even though the game went 30 legs, they were still sort of able to reach those heights in the averages, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a little bit like us, to be honest. We got on here early, and it's a bit of a shit show at the start, and then we get going a little bit just as we work our way into it. Gary, though, like you say, he's had a really good year away from the big stage and been fantastic on the Pro Tour. It's how good is it to see him playing like this up on the big stage now and going and trying to win a tournament that he's not won yet?
Oh, it's amazing, and it's sort of. I think there aren't many darts fans who would begrudge seeing Gary Anderson add this one to the collection, just because he's entertained us for years, and he's one of those players. He's sort of thinking, oh, he's starting to drop down the rankings. Is he sort of on a bit of a slippery slide? And then he chucks in a tournament and turns that around and reminds us all, I think, that he's still got the game, because he's beat some quality opposition and players playing well this year. So it's fantastic to see, and hopefully he can sort of use this a bit as a reminder to himself as well, that he's got the game, and that he can start talking about himself in interviews, not having to name drop everybody else that are playing well. That he's got the game to match them, even though he's not a spring chicken, as it were, anymore.
Yeah, he still likes to do it, doesn't he? He said it before this game about how well Jan was playing. He'll. I assume I didn't see his full interview, and obviously the fact I sort of noticed him at the end saying that he was going to give Littler a kick in the shins. So I assume he mentioned as well how well Littler's playing as well. It's just that little bit. He just likes to be the underdog a little bit, doesn't he? He's sort of the anti-James Wade, in that he's not bothered if no one's talking about him. If anything, he wants it to be that way and just go about his business. And to use his old catchphrase, he just wants to play darts.
And that's what he's doing at the moment. He seems to just be playing darts. Yes, he's been asked these questions, he's batting them all off, and then sort of being his own worst enemy on the stage by putting performances in so that people are going to ask the questions again. But it is fantastic to see, as in don't get me wrong, I love seeing the new young players coming through and new names winning tournaments, but having sort of grown up really watching Gary Anderson throughout his career, there's something quite magical about seeing him still putting strong performances, tournament-winning performances together, and it's just amazing that at the age of 53, after this run, people will be talking about him as potential world champion, and the more names that are potential world champions, the better it is, because all the boys then they bring their A game. The top players bring their A game, and makes Ali Pali even more special.
Yeah, it does. I mean, like I say, it's been fun the last couple of months seeing new winners, seeing Mike the Decker. The Decker, I called him. They're not the Dicker. I said the wrong one. Seeing Mike the Decker, seeing Rich Yeddell, seeing people go up and win things for the first time on the big stage. But we all love seeing Gary Anderson up there and compete. And Gary Anderson at his best is just good for darts, because it's the best looking throw in the world, and he can still light it up there as well as anyone else can.
Yeah, it's frustrating sometimes watching him because he's so good and he makes it look so effortless, and he's just like, why can't I throw a dart like that? Because I don't practice, Gary doesn't practice, but my game
Yeah.
is
I've
nowhere
done
near his.
loads of not practicing, and it's never worked for me.
Yeah, so I don't know where I'm going wrong really, but yeah, no, it's just fantastic to see, and obviously the semi-final tomorrow is sort of I don't want to say old v new, but youth versus experience, and it's well, if it was a boxing match, it'd be a headliner or in any sport. So it's I think a fantastic prospect ahead. I think.
100%. So on to those semi-finals tomorrow, and Flash score is not always right on this, but I'm pretty sure I know which way around these semi-finals are going to be tomorrow. We're certainly going to get Mickey Mansell against Martin Lukeman first in the afternoon, and then after that, Luke Littler against Gary Anderson. So we'll start in order of how they're going to go. A little bit youth against experience here as well. I mean, 39, he's not the youngest in the world, isn't Martin Lukeman, but up against Mickey Mansell, who's 51 now. We'll give him youth against experience here for Smash. Which way do you see this one going?
Yeah, it's an intriguing game, really, isn't it? Because it's a game that both players will look at and think, I've got a real chance here of making the final, as in they'll both fancy the win. And I just hope that the occasion doesn't get the better of them, because on their day, they're both capable of producing big numbers. As in, I think last night, Mickey Mansell pretty much scored half the 180s of the evening in scoring 11. So he's got the game, as in Lukeman says he doesn't want the money, he doesn't want the title, just wants a picture with his wife. So obviously he's got that added incentive of keeping his good lady happy. So yeah, but I think based on the way Lukeman played from 10-0 last night against Rob Cross, when I think most darts fans probably thought, Cross will take it from here because of the experience. I think Lukeman wins, and obviously Mansell's got his rhythm and stuff, so he'll be in the game. I don't think he'll be as short and quick as our first quarterfinal this evening, but I think Lukeman wins 16-13.
I forgot completely to tell everyone to get involved in the chat room, but you all know what you're doing now. Everyone's already in there doing it. It's first to 16 again, as we know. 16-13 for you. So you've got it fairly close.
Yeah.
But Smash getting over the line and making a first major final. We've seen him obviously in a final on the Euro Tour in the past, but first big one on TV. Yeah, I'm sort of tempted to go quite similar to you. I think he's just playing better than Mansell is at the moment. Like I say, Mansell hit a lot of 180s, which slightly out of character for him on the night. Hit 11, I think he did yesterday, but
yeah.
I'm not sure I see that scoring power again. Like, we usually see a lot of tons and a lot of 140s from him, but I just think Lukeman will be the more consistent, and I'm going to give it him by an extra leg. I'm going to give it him 16-12, but I think both will put up a good performance. I don't think we'll see a massive drop-off from them. I don't think we'll see the occasion get to them too much, but I think that Lukeman will just be a little bit more consistent. What I also forgot to do, because we were on here too early, and it's all Luke Littler's fault, I forgot to show you that we actually have a clip from both, not only Luke Littler, but we've also got Gary Anderson in the back end now as well. So before we get on to predicting the second semi-final tomorrow, let's hear first of all from Luke Littler.
Feel unbeatable myself. Obviously, when you're playing that well, you just feel like no one can stop you, and that just goes to show that Jermaine, he couldn't get close. Obviously he was missing darts for ton pluses, and I was checking out, but he had to take those chances, but he didn't. When you're playing that good, you can just feel it. It's coming. But it's just that double 12. You see me on 84. I'll just hit the double 12, and I'm thinking, why don't you do that a few legs ago for a 9? But yeah, I can feel myself coming.
There is something really refreshing about listening to Luke Littler get interviewed, in that because of how young he is, he's not particularly media trained. He's not sort of had loads of years of doing this. And he just gives you a really good, honest answer every time. Like, he knows how well he's playing, and he's quite happy to say that he feels like he's unbeatable and he feels like he's playing really well. And that even that he's beating himself up a bit when he takes out 84 because he missed it on the 9, which I love it. I think it's great, and it's really good to hear that from him. Before we sort of go on to predicting the game, what we're also going to hear from is Gary Anderson as well, and see what he had to say when he spoke to Phil afterwards. As always, full interviews. The clips will be on YouTube, so go over there after you've finished with us today. But here was Gary Anderson after his win.
He was mustard, wasn't he? He was good. So if I get a leg tomorrow, we'll be doing all right.
Well, on that tomorrow, you and Luke have never met. He said he can't wait to play you. Is the feeling mutual?
That could be good. It could be bad. You know what I mean? If Gary turns up, he might not get what he wants. Santa doesn't always turn up, you know. But the way it looks, I mean, he's good. But like I say, let's give it a go. You know, the minute 180's had to his average, he should have been on about 125 plus. You know, so there's a wee slippy somewhere in between. So I need to pick up on where he's making his little mistakes about.
I love that as well from Gary Anderson. Firstly, just obviously like say, Littler's looking forward to playing him. Well, he might not be what he wants if old Gary turns up. I like that little edge to it. And then saying that with the number on 8, he should have been averaging 125, not 105.
That's the difference between somebody who's fresh, not being media trained, and somebody who's been told what to say to make sure your opponent hears the interview before the game.
No, exactly that. So, just in the chat on the first game as well, we have got a couple of predictions in there. All boxed up has got Lukeman 16-8. He's got him by quite a wide margin. James has got Lukeman 16-11. We've got 16-11 from Kev in Bradshaw as well. Lukeman 16-14 from Joel. Video Smurf, the outlier, out there on his own, 16-15 Mansell. I'm not sure I can take another 31 legs of it. I'm not so sure about that. And then Kieran in there as well has got 16-12 to Lukeman. So just Video Smurf out on his own there. Kieran's gone the same as me, so he's wrong, as we know. There's nothing surer than that. Evening, Bob in the chat room as well. So
I think. Sorry, I think Bob's gone for Mickey Mansell as well. And if I'm not wrong, Bob tends to get right.
He has, yeah. Bob was right the other night a couple of times, wasn't he? When everyone else was sort of going the other way, he has gone Mansell 16-11. I hadn't scrolled far enough down the page. Evening, Bob. Obviously, Bob, one of our members on there as well. If you are watching along and you want to get involved, as ever, you do need to subscribe. Otherwise, we don't let you do it because that's the way we run things over here. We are very much. If you're not subscribing to us, you're not having a go. I'm in charge. That's how it is. So you've had more than enough time to think about this next one now. Luke Littler, Gary Anderson, which way are you going?
Well, as I said, I think it was last night, the night before, and earlier the week, I predicted Gary to win the Grand Slam.
But you also predicted him to lose last night.
Sorry?
You also predicted him to lose last night.
No, I went with Gary. I said I think he was going
to... Did you change your mind?
I think you and Dan went with Jean and I went with Gary, I think. Was it the other way? I can't remember. I really want to say Gary again, but Luke Littler is making it very hard for me to say that just because of not just what we've seen tonight, what we've seen all week, but I don't think Gary Anderson can keep up with Luke Littler, unfortunately. And Littler wins 16-12 11. Yeah, although it could be 31 legs if Gary does win, which would be very exciting.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? So you're in 16, 11, Littler.
Yeah.
In the chat, we have got Kieran's got Littler 16, 15. I am all for 31 legs of it
Yes,
tomorrow.
please.
Love that. All boxed up has got Littler 16, 12. Daniel's got Andor 16, 14. 16, 13 Andor for Jack. Littler 16, 13 for Kev. Bob's got Anderson 16, 10. Want to see that. Video Smurf's got Anderson 16, 14. And also we've got James got 16, 12. Joel's got 16, 14. Littler as well. So mostly going Littler. Joel's got wants Anderson 16, 15, but Littler 16, 12. Pretty much the same. If you just type that yourself in the back end there. Is that your burner account?
Yeah.
Also got Richard's got Littler 16, 8. Bit of credit to Video Smurf as well. He was alone on Dodeka winning the Grand Prix final. Fair play to him. So yeah, maybe him and Bob are the ones to listen to in here rather than ourselves. Malachi's got Anderson 16, 14. Now, you've got Gary winning the tournament, but you've picked Littler to win.
Yeah. So I'm win-win.
I've got Littler winning the tournament. But I really want to pick Gary to win.
Yeah. Oh.
I just, if there's a little wobble from Littler tomorrow, and if he isn't the machine that he seems to be, and he is actually a human being, and he's playing Gary for the first time, and he's a bit excited about playing Gary, he might just dip a little bit early on. And if Gary can get into a lead early on, which is sort of going against the way that most of these games have gone this week. I think Littler's the only one I've seen get to 4-1 up at the first break and go on and win. But if Gary can just get a lead early, I can see him doing what he did to Jan tonight and just keep doing enough on his own throw. And I think he wins 16-14. So I've got Littler winning it, I've picked Gary, and you've got Gary winning it and picked Littler. And on that bombshell, to coin a phrase from a very popular car show, it's time to end. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for making it what it is every time. Having you guys along is what it's all here for. Thank you again, Carwin. And we won't be back tomorrow because it is the final day. So it will be Monday night on the Live Lounge when it will be the usual trio, I think. I think it will be Dan Simpson, Gob, and Mr. Phil Bars, the famous Mr. Phil Bars, to give him his proper title. Actually, sorry, yeah, before we go, should we do who wins it then? We might as well do who wins it as well.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night. It's only 10 o'clock.
Yeah, that's it. The boxing hasn't started yet. Anyway, so let's go for it. So I've got Lukeman and Anderson in the final. You've got Lukeman and Littler. So there's nothing surer than Mickey Mantle makes the final. So out of your two picks, go on. Who wins and by what scoreline?
So am I right in thinking the finals best of 35?
It's a good question. It's a good question and one that I haven't got the answer for.
Or does it stay? I can't remember now.
I think it's still 16, isn't it?
It's still 16, is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still 16. Someone else, yes. We've got a couple in the chat already in there. So All Boxed Up has got Littler winning the final 16-7. We've got a few others. Probably lost a couple there because we said we were finishing and then we carried on. Littler 16-5 for Joel, 16-7 for James. Littler beating Lukeman as well. Littler's going to be that good. He's winning 2 extra legs. He's getting 18 against. I think that's because you mentioned 35 there.
Yeah. So apologies if I'm wrong.
Yeah, 16-10 for Littler and Ando 16-12, Gary 16-13. So everybody,
best of 13,
everybody is picking that the winner is coming from the second semi-final. But there was a little stat from James earlier that the only players to lose a Grand Slam final from the top half are Dave Chisnell and Gary Anderson. So playing first in the semi-final has been a big advantage. However, everyone's going for the other way, and that the second semi-final brings us the winner. Which way are you going?
Yeah, I think the difference with the other two finals, and this is no disrespect to the first semi-finalists, but they were playing an informed Geraint Price, and Dave Chisholm played Phil Taylor, and I can't see anything but a bottom half of the draw win. And if my semi-final prediction is correct, I think Littler wins 16-6. If I get my semi-final wrong, I think it'll be a closer final, but still 16-11 maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I, like everyone else, I'd like to try and be different, and I really like Martin Lippmann, and I'd love to see him go and win a big event, but I just think that the two players in the second semi-final are just playing better darts than anyone else, and for that reason, I'm going to go with Gary to win 16-11, and if it's Littler, I think it's wider. I think it's about 16-8.
Yeah. Sounds about right, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's us all done. We'll actually end this time. I'll actually leave. And yeah, like I say, Monday night you will get all the reaction, but enjoy it all tomorrow, because I think we're gonna have a really good session tomorrow, and the final is going to be a little bit special as well. So
Definitely.
Thank you very much all for watching. Thank you, Carwyn, as ever, for being along for the ride, and we will see you all soon. If I can take us out.